Hey guys, we're just going to give it a few minutes, then we'll go and get started. What's going on, Abhishek? Good to see you here. Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. We are here, Victor. What's going on, Derek, Tim, Gym Owners on top, Jerome, Smear. Great to see you guys here. A lot of regulars. Hey, Zid Jr., Tim. Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. It's going to be a good stream, guys. Going to go over a lot of stuff in the market today and going to go over the recent price action and where I think we're going this week. What's going on, Akazamar? It's good to have you here. Luiser, Cheap, Nikolai, Asset, a lot of good people. Sprakos, good to see you here. Vusamuzi, interesting name. What's going on? Good to see you. Dreamer, Botified, Leviathan, Derek, a lot of good people. Let's see what everyone's saying here. Market is going crazy, Derek. Yes, it is. Abhishek says, I'm already into the long in ETH since this morning. Awesome. Yeah, the long on ETH I just called. I'll talk about that as well, guys, and the reasoning. I mean, I put most of it in the description, but I'll go over a couple of news items, what I'm seeing. Basically, I'm seeing Tom Lee announce that he's going to buy some more, so I was trying to front run that as well. Got about a minute and a half left, and then we will start the stream. So I see 52 viewers in here, only 3 likes. Make sure you guys are liking the video. It helps spread this to the masses, and it helps us get noticed by a lot of people, and also helps me out. So really appreciate it, guys. What's going on, Nikolai, Kim, Lucas, Amir? Nikolai says, do you run or do you skip cardio? Nate says walking is better than running. Yeah, walking's better than running. So I don't really run because I like to preserve more muscle mass. So usually I'll walk on the treadmill after I work out, about 15 minutes or so. And it's good for recovery as well. So I highly recommend everyone here walk. It's much, much better. And Amir, doing great. Hope you're doing good as well. Derek says, thoughts on Hype and MYX. So Hype is very good. I mean, it's breaking above its all-time high. It's at $51 right now. So if you can buy it near 49 when it comes back to support, then it'll be a good level to buy. And then MYX, that was up over 190% today, I believe. So that one's doing good. I actually haven't looked at the details of that, so I need to watch that and see. Let's see, Amir says, remember I was telling you about silver and gold? Exactly. I know. Those things are pumping. And we'll talk about that as well, about the currency market and why they're pumping so much and how the dollar is being devalued and just exactly what that means for crypto. What's going on, Learning Man? Good to see you here. Jansen says, Hype trade is cooking. Can you confirm the TP levels? So yeah, so Luke made that Hype call. So really for take profit for Hype, it's going to be, I mean, it's really uncharted territory. So we'll go over the chart as well and go over that trend line resistance and see where we can finalize that. But time is up now, so let's go ahead and get started with the stream, guys. So first, looking at the past 24 hours liquidation data, we have 290 million, with majority of those being short. So some good short squeezes today. Remember my last market update I posted earlier today, I said Bitcoin was in an inverse head and shoulders pattern. I said it's going to break to the upside, and that's exactly what happened. So make sure you guys are paying attention to those market updates. I spend a lot of time putting them together, as well as a lot of time performing the TA and making sure that you guys are staying one step ahead of everyone else. Now, looking at the liquidity heat maps of the past 24 hours, I was pulling it up for Ethereum, but let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin real quick so you can see exactly where it's going. There is still some liquidity to the upside. You can see near that 113K level, but we do have some right now near 111K and then 110K. So if we do have a pullback, I would look to buy near those levels. Now, if you go to the weekly, there's actually some liquidity near 109K. You can see a thick level of liquidity there. So it's very possible that we come back down and retest those levels before continuing higher. But we'll have to see what happens because there's very low liquidity near 114K. So it looks like there's a lot more longs than shorts. We'll have to see if that continues or if we build liquidity up and shorts start to get overconfident. Now, looking at some news items. So there's a lot of news items that have happened over the past week. So let's go ahead and go over some of those real quick. So September 2nd, we had Gavin Newsom, actually the California governor, saying he's going to launch a crypto meme coin. So he's actually going to run for president in 2028. And now he's trying to appeal to the masses and launch a meme coin, which is very, very funny. So there were some memes that actually came out after he announced this. But again, anyone that launched a meme coin, guys, you always got to be wary of that and always take profits as soon as possible. Now, also, you said Trump says the stock market's going down because of uncertainty. So again, Trump is trying to do everything he can to pump the stock market. So that's going to be good for our bags eventually. And we're going to see that come to fruition over the next few months, next few years. But currently, we're already seeing that come into play. Now, something interesting as well is the SEC and CFTC is allowing spot trading of certain cryptocurrencies on U.S. registered exchanges. So I'm guessing there were some cryptocurrencies that weren't tradable on U.S. exchanges. So now that they're open to that, it's going to be good because it's going to allow more variety and, again, give people more access that maybe didn't have access prior. Also, the United States is collecting $31 billion in tariff revenue in August, which is the highest monthly total this year. So ever since Trump introduced tariffs, you can see how much money has been collected by the United States over time. Now, you're going to ask, well, that only makes the cost of goods higher in the United States. Well, yes, that may be true. There's actually other savings that Trump is looking at to offset that, whether it be a stimulus check in the form of $600 to $1,500, whether that be replacing tariffs or replacing the federal income tax with the tariff revenue. I mean, there's various ways that he's looking to offset that cost to the average American. So going to be interested to see what happens with that. Also, we have federal Governor Waller saying he favors multiple interest rate cuts in the coming months. So this is something good to see because now at this point, rate cuts are basically a certainty. It's 100% certainty. If you check my X account, if you aren't following me on X, definitely do that. You can see here at the CryptoData, I post a lot of content, and I also make sure to post the latest news as well, and then some quotes and some market items as well. So make sure you guys are following me at the CryptoData. Try to post as much good content as I can for you guys. Now, also, we say here, Trump says tariffs could replace federal income tax. So this is more positive news of how the tariffs are going to be used. One, the revenue is going to be used to offset some of the cost as well as benefit Americans at the same time. And then here you have the Federal Reserve is to hold a conference discussing crypto stablecoins, tokenization, and AI. So that shows you, again, the Federal Reserve is really pushing to have crypto adopted to the masses. And also the CFTC granted Polymarket, excuse me, approval to operate crypto prediction markets in the U.S. So remember when Polymarket was originally banned in the US, now they're saying that's going to become available. It kind of reminds me of online poker whenever that was initially banned and then that got approved again in some areas. So same thing here. It is a gambling website, but nonetheless, you can make money. I'm sure the government makes money on it as well. So something interesting to see that, again, more access and more adoption from those higher ups for crypto and crypto sources. And then also you had the Department of Justice launches criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. Remember, she was fired by Trump, and that shows you he's actually forming his political cabinet that is conducive with his policies. And so this is going to help pump our bags. It's going to help pump the market at the end of the day. So great to see there. And then also you have Michael Saylor's strategy saying he meets all criteria to be listed in the S&P 500. Remember, the S&P actually was against listing strategy on the S&P. So unfortunately, that didn't get listed, but nonetheless, Michael Saylor is still pushing. He's still buying more Bitcoin. And so I think that just gives him more motivation at the end of the day that he wasn't listed on the S&P. Also, you have the SEC unveiling new rulemaking plans to reform crypto regulations. Remember, the Clarity Act is supposed to get passed by the end of the month. So that is going to be something that's going to be good to see. Going to be waiting for that as well. And also you have SEC Chair Paul Atkins saying, or providing regulatory framework for crypto is a key priority, and saying they're working to provide greater certainty in the crypto market. So again, this just falls more for the adoption aspect and also the clarity aspect for new companies starting in crypto, or just in general, them, applying to basically follow the certain regulations that they need to, and having a clear roadmap for that versus the previous administration. There was a lot of uncertainty. They were suing Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, everyone, because there was no clear guidelines. Now they're changing that. And so the space is going to change, guys. I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen over the next few months. Also, you have El Salvador buying $50 million worth of gold. And so this shows you gold is near all-time highs right now. Now, all these countries, these nation states, and even people in the U.S. and institutions are buying up gold. So gold is rising at the same time the stock market is rising, which is very unusual. And this is what I was talking about earlier, guys, is that we're about to have a super cycle in crypto like no one's ever seen. And I know that sounds far-fetched right now. I know people think that we've already topped this cycle. I think it's pretty humorous, the people that have thought that. I think that we're still a far ways away. I think the cycle tops not until May of 2026 at a 250K Bitcoin. I think there's still a long ways to go. And this is one of those reasons, because you have gold rising as much as it is, because it is a hedge against uncertainty and a hedge against inflation. And they're not confident in the central bank. That's why you have treasury yields near 5%. That's why you have the dollar continuing to devalue. And that's why you're seeing more of a flight to safety into crypto and precious commodities because that lack of trust and the uncertainty surrounding the entire economy. So we'll see crypto start to rise and starts to catch a tailwind from that. So definitely watch that closely. Then also you have Tesla. The board proposes a new $1 trillion pay package for Elon Musk. This is the biggest pay package that we've ever seen for a CEO, and this would be over 10 years. And in my opinion, Tesla is one of the best stocks to invest in right now. One, because they just launched their robo-taxi service in Austin a couple months ago. And then also, they're working on releasing fully unsupervised full self-driving by the end of December. And so you're going to see that stock continue to rise. There's going to be continued value in it. Also, there's milestones that Elon has to meet in order for him to get paid. And so, he really wants to get paid to further his ventures with SpaceX, with Mars, colonizing Mars, with building rockets. I mean, all these kinds of things take money, and he doesn't really care about the money, but you need money to operate. And so that's going to give him motivation to help increase the valuation of the company. At the end of those 10 years, they're targeting $8.5 trillion, which is over an 8x from where it's at right now. That tells you what's going to happen with the stock if that happens, right? So I would say Tesla is a great stock to invest in. And then also you have the unemployment rate. In the U.S., it rose to 4.3%, which was the highest since October, and that further solidifies the need for a rate cut. So that's why you're seeing so much confidence now, 100% certainty that rate cuts are going to happen. Also, you have Bank of America now projecting the Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates twice this year. So this furthers the argument of not just a rate cut in September, but potentially October or November. And that's going to further turn the, increase, help pump the market, as well as turn the money printer on, in quantitative tightening, start quantitative easing, start that stimulus, and we'll really start to see everything come to fruition after that. And it's going to be a great Q4 from there. So great to see on there. Also, you have Eric Trump saying crypto is growing faster than the internet. So again, almost akin to the dot-com bubble where everything was in euphoria. Like I said, I don't believe the market's going to top until May 2026. So still a lot of room to run. And then also you have Trump considering blocking U.S. tech companies from outsourcing jobs to India. So if he keeps jobs within the U.S., that's just going to help increase the revenue from the U.S. and help, in my opinion, add more discretionary income and then add more investment into the stock market and the crypto markets. And then also you have Robinhood being listed on the S&P 500. So Robinhood is very receptive to crypto, so that's good that they're getting added to the S&P. Then also you have Michael Saylor. There was a post here that said he's hinting at buying more Bitcoin, and I posted this in my market update yesterday. If you guys aren't in the Gym Hunters free group, definitely join. Links in the description. If you want to join the premium group, second link in the description. It's 1 ETH for a yearly subscription, and you'll get more leverage calls, meme coin calls, 24/7 concierge service, gym reports, etc. So definitely keep an eye on that. And then here you can see Michael Saylor actually ended up buying over $200 million worth of Bitcoin. So that actually coincided as well with our inverse head and shoulders, a nice little confluence there. Then also you have Supreme Court rules that President Trump can fire the FTC commissioner. So just more argument of the market pumping and reasons for the market to pump as Trump continues to fire people that aren't necessarily agreeing with his policies, whether you like that or hate that. He's focused on pumping the markets. At the end of the day, that's what's going to happen in the short term. So definitely keep an eye on that. Then you have NASDAQ filing with the SEC to allow tokenization and blockchain listing of stocks. So again, more adoption with blockchain. And then you have the U.S. House Committee on Financial Service calls for the Senate to pass the Crypto Clarity Act market structure bill. This is what I was talking about earlier. This act will get passed by the end of September. It is a huge act because it helps more companies get involved in the crypto as well as adopt it. So with clear regulations, there's no uncertainty. At that point, companies feel more comfortable to operate. Then also, this is an important one, guys. Make sure you guys are paying attention to this. Ledger CTO warns of large-scale crypto hack in the JavaScript ecosystem and advises against making on-chain transactions for now. So here you can see by Charles, it says there's a large-scale supply chain attack in progress. The NPM account of a reputable developer has been compromised. The affected packages have already been downloaded over 1 billion times, meaning the entire JavaScript ecosystem may be at risk. The malicious payload works by silently swapping crypto addresses on the fly to steal funds. If you use a hardware wallet, pay attention to every transaction before signing and you're safe. If you don't use a hardware wallet, refrain from making any on-chain transactions for now. It's still uncertain whether the attacker is also stealing seeds from software wallets directly at this stage. So make sure you guys are paying attention to this because this, again, it can take your funds if you're not careful. So please, guys, read all of your transactions before approving them. Put it in a chat GPT if you need to. Ask if it's safe, if there's any red flags, and then go from there. So wait until they have updates from there. Now, let's go ahead and answer some questions and see what people have. I know people have a lot of questions here. Give me a second, and then we'll go over some macro TA for the S&P Gold and the DXY, and then we'll go over the crypto overview with the Fear and Greed Index, ETF flows, and then some normal TA for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana after that. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and look at a few others. A lot of good people in here today. Jim Hunters on top says, ETH long looks so promising. It does look promising. It does, right? So I'm looking for at least some type of breakout on there. Sprockos, what's going on? Vuzmuzi, what's going on? Good to see you here. Let's see. A few others. Okay. Cheap Hut says, this is my second time, sir. How are you? Hey, good to have you here. Thanks for joining. What's going on, Lucas? Good to see you here. Samir says, BTC long. You could do a BTC long, but I'm waiting for it to close above 112K. That's the big resistance level we need to close above. So keep an eye on that. Let's see who else we have. Lahil says, hi, guys. God bless you all. God bless you as well, Lahil. Botified says, for the ETH, what do you mean if the daily closes below your stop loss, you get out? Wouldn't you be automatically out because it hit your stop loss? So Botified, for that, you don't set a stop loss. You have to manually watch it. Therefore, if on the daily candle, which closes at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time or midnight UTC, if you're looking at it at that time and it's below 4,200, you get out. If it's above that price, then you stay for another 24 hours until the daily candle closes again. Israel says, what's up, CD? Listening while at work. Hey, I love when people listen to it at work. Nice little background noise. Jay says, how's it going? Thoughts about Destra Network, AI Eco? Would you do a full price analysis on this? So Destra, I've heard back in the past, it gained some hype whenever the AI narrative was hot, but I haven't looked at it recently. I'll have to check that out as well during the TA portion. And then Samir says, talk about gold. Yeah, I'll talk about gold in the TA portion as well for the macro right after this. Lucas says, blessed Monday. Yes, blessed Monday as well. The weather's actually great. If any of you guys live in the South, it's very cool today for September, so great to see. Amazonia says, hey, I've been liquidated and I'm thinking to restart again. I've gone through the FOMO. Yeah, Amazonia, honestly, I've been liquidated 10, 20 times before I actually, really found a structured plan and followed it. So the biggest thing I would say is only trade with what you can afford to lose, but also you need to have a trading plan, whether that's always having, only longing at support, TPing at resistance, and then setting your stop loss and having a stop loss for every trade. That is the biggest thing I would say. And if you're getting liquidated, then just know that if you have a stop loss, one, it's going to prevent you from being liquidated, but two, make sure you have a proper trading plan and test it out beforehand if you need to. What's going on, Mirza? Good to see you here. Mirza says Doge is about to melt faces. Yeah, Doge is actually a good one. Thanks for reminding me. We'll check that chart out today. Stanley, how do you decide the top of a meme coin like SPS 6900 or Pengu? Really, it's just based off demand, honestly. So if anyone's posting about it, if they have any upcoming catalysts, I know for Pengu, Luca Netz, the CEO of Pudgy Penguins, he said that Q4 is going to be bullish for Pengu. So it's going to be a great time. So definitely look for some longs if you have it. Bayo Sports says W, so many patterns being broken out of Pengu, Fart, Shiba, Doge. Exactly, Bayo, 100%. That's why I made the ETH long call. I think even though it's underperformed, we have to see some type of flows. And actually, thanks for reminding me. Let me look at Tom Lee. So Tom Lee was talking about potentially buying more. Let me look for that article because that's what I was going to talk about for the ETH long. Let me see. Okay. There should be something. Here we go. So Arkham just posted Tom Lee is buying ETH. Tom Lee's Bitmine just bought $34 million worth of ETH. Bitmine holds $9 billion worth of ETH. So it shows they're continuing to buy more Ethereum. And like you said, this pressure is probably only going to increase. We'll have to look at ETF flows and see if they're positive for today. But yeah, 100%. A lot of patterns are breaking out today. Nikolai said, I don't know if this is true, but I just saw a news saying that the French government collapsed. Whoa, that's big news. I'll have to check that out. I know that, the UK has been suffering a lot, and especially with France. So I'm going to have to watch that as well. Bayo says, thoughts on hype high? I would look for $100 by the cycle high, Bayo. So another 2x from here. Diego, how confident are you in that ETH long, potentially getting to TP2 or even 3? So Diego, TP2, I'm pretty confident. TP3, I don't know if it'll get there. Nicholas, what's going on? Good to have you here. Captain Price says, what's the price of Sol will be in the next hours? I wish I knew that. Probably 218. That'd be the big take profit level if you're in it. So, let's see. Godier says, as always, W stream from W Man. Oh, hey, good to have you here. Appreciate that. Alexander, good evening, sir. Hey, good evening to you. Hard facts, Ethereum might go to all-time high again very fast. That would be amazing. The only thing, hard facts, I know that Benjamin Cohen is thinking ETH may go to 3,500. That is my only hesitation because he is usually very accurate from a macro perspective. So keep that in mind too, right? I always have both scenarios in my head, and that's why I said a daily close below 4,200 would invalidate the descending wedge pattern. So you can see here, he's thinking that ETH ran to highs in August, and the current pullback should bring ETH back to his 21 weekly EMA. After ETH drops to those 21 weekly EMA, then it should rally to new all-time highs. And that 21 weekly EMA is at 3,500. So this is a possible scenario too, guys. So keep that in mind. I know we're in an ETH long right now, but that's why I set my take profits not too much higher, because there is still a possibility that we have a further pullback. So just keep that in mind. We could see a further pullback on ETH, but nonetheless, the pattern, like I said, risk reward is too good to pass up. So that's why I believe we're still looking good for that. Also, if you're not following me on X at the CryptoData, would appreciate a follow. I try to share as much good content with you guys as I can. Pin message, as well as different news articles and different quotes as well. I always like to share positive quotes to keep people motivated. So again, I'm a little bit of a Swiss knife in terms of talking about health, quotes, stock market, crypto market, everything. So make sure you guys stay informed about all of it. Also, let's see what else we got here. Amir says October 20th is the last day of me staying in crypto. Silver 2026. Hey Amir, silver is a good one. I've seen some high targets for silver. Let me know what your target is for silver by mid 2026. Golden Boy says Sensei, please TA for Sui and Fartcoin Denki. Yeah, I'll do that. Just remind me again in about 10-15 minutes, and I'll do that. Hootie, hey CD, just gotten that ETH long. Thanks for always putting out great calls. Make sure to like the stream, fellas. Hey, appreciate that, Hootie. Yeah, guys, if you could, we have 138 viewers and only 37 likes. That should be a crime. If you guys could like the stream, that'd be amazing. It helps spread the stream to the masses, helps me out, helps me doing these for free for you guys, so always appreciated. Also, subscribe if you haven't, guys. Gem Hunters is getting closer to that 7K subscription. Also, if you haven't joined the free Telegram, in the description, and if you haven't joined the pay group, 1 Ethereum for a yearly subscription. Second link in the description, so more leverage calls, meme coin calls, 24/7 concierge service, and more. Akazamara says, thanks a lot for the good work. Hey, appreciate you, Akazamars. I try to do what I can, and I try to provide you guys with as much info as I can, because I know how convoluted this space is. Nicholas says, does TI also apply to stocks? Thanks for all the sauce you continue to give us. Hey, no problem, Nicholas. Yes, it does apply for stocks as well, and I'll actually go over the stock market TA in about 2 minutes. I'll just answer a few more questions, and then we'll go over that. Maddie says, hey, CD, always appreciate your content. You have probably answered this before, but how do you calculate your 3 TP levels? Just use the next 3 SR levels? Hey, no problem, Maddie. Yes, I use the next resistance level. So, for example, for Ethereum, if it's 4,400, I'll usually do some intermediate resistance levels because I try not to make them too far away because you never know with this market how volatile it is. So, yeah, I'll usually use intermediate resistance levels maybe on the 4 hour, and that'll be my take profit 1, and then major ones at take profit 2, then major ones at take profit 3. And that'll be the way I calculate them out because I'm assuming it'll get rejected at those resistance levels. So that's the safest way I can say to take profit at those levels and get the maximum value you can. SWAR, please stay safe and avoid any on-chain transactions right now, guys. Swissborg experienced an incident a few hours ago and 41 million SOL was stolen on Solana. Yes, please, 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 please be careful, guys. 100%. I probably should retweet as well from that. So I'll have to see if I can, yeah, let me actually retweet that real quick, guys, because I want to make sure people do keep that in mind. So give me 2 seconds real quick. I'm just going to retweet that quote or that post from Ledger. Here we go. Yeah. So, okay, let me go ahead and retweet this. Yeah. Make sure guys are staying safe out there. So I'll post this up here just so people can see it as well for those maybe who haven't heard of it. But yeah, just be careful, guys, when approving any online transactions. Always read the transaction before approving it because there is a hack going on right now, especially if you're using a hardware wallet. All right, Samir says, talk about gold. Yep, I'll talk about gold in a minute. Going to chart that. Alexander, I didn't thought it would be much scams when I entered the space. There's a lot of scams, Alexander, especially if they can make money easily. That's the easiest way for hackers to make money, right? Just online scams. So please be careful, guys. Lucas, would shorting the top of this run we are having now be a good position for the rest of September to hold on? If it's low leverage, potentially, Lucas, yeah. But there is potential for BTC to run up to 117K here, so just keep that in mind as well. Abel says, what do you think about Rose? Not really bullish or bearish on it, more neutral. But it's not a bad token. Learning Man, Bitcoin target for 2026, 250K. Bigos says, thanks for all your work, CD. Hey, no problem, Bigos. Okay, we'll leave it on Bigos for now, and then we go ahead and go over the rest of the markets. So let's go ahead and pull this back. 142 viewers, 58 likes. If you guys could like the stream, that'd be amazing. Appreciate all of you watching as well. Now let's go over the stock market and some TA. So the S&P 500 is at 64.90, nearing all-time highs again. The weekly RSI is not overbought yet, meaning it still has room to run to the upside. Major support would be near 6,200 if we do have a pullback, followed by 6,100 and that psychological level of 6,000. Now gold, guys, reaching all-time highs. The RSI now is looking overbought. And so here's what I would say. Here's what I would keep in mind is technically you could say we have a bearish divergence if gold rejects from here. And then at that point, you can see gold is making higher highs while RSI is making higher or lower highs, right? So this is a bearish divergence, and it may basically mean that we turn back to the downside, and gold would at least retest 3450, 3340, and 3200. So this would be a nasty rejection if we do reverse from here. So just keep that in mind if gold continues downward. But I mean, it is very strong right now, so very impressive to see. Now, oil futures, nothing too crazy there, 60 to 70, staying within that, so nothing to really talk about. And then you have the DXY all the way on the right here. So the DXY is rejecting off of this trend line resistance. The RSI is very close to crossing to the downside on the weekly, below its signal line. Remember, the DXY is the strength of the dollar. It's inversely correlated to Bitcoin roughly 70% of the time. So if the DXY goes down, you have Bitcoin rising. So right now, like I said, it's rejecting and still has room to the downside, which should mean Bitcoin rises over the next few days. But like I said, I'm going to watch the ETF flows and see if institutions agree with me. Let's go ahead and refresh the page here on CoinGecko. So with Bitcoin, 112,300, you can see it's up 1.2%. Ethereum's 1.1% at 43.25. And then you have XRP up 3.9% and Solana doing really good at 6.7%. Now, looking at the 24-hour gainers, WorldCoin is doing amazing, up 41%. Pengu 18%, Bonk 13%, Doge starting to break out here 7.9%, very good. And then Hype, like we were talking about earlier, reaching all-time highs, 7.6%, up over $50. And then MYX Finance, someone was asking about that, up 244%. And so it shows you guys there's still a ton of opportunities in the market. Despite what people say about September being the most bearish month, there is still a lot of opportunities, especially as people are front-running these interest rate cuts. Remember, I reposted an article just earlier today that rate cuts are near 100% certainty now. So now the question becomes, is it going to be 25 basis points or 50 basis points? Right now, 50 basis points is around 11%, whereas 25 basis points is around 89%. So let's see if that increases or decreases as we get closer. Remember, we do have some big data coming up today. And actually, let me go over that real quick so you guys can see the data that I'm talking about. If you go to, let's see, his name is Ash Crypto Real. He actually posted some big dates that are coming up very soon. One of those is the CPI data. So here you can see September 9th, we have U.S. non-farm payrolls data. And then you have September 10th, PPI data, and then September 11th, CPI data. So this week's going to be very volatile. If these numbers do come out negative, that's going to be good for interest rate cuts. Most likely expect a pump in the market because then you're going to see 50 basis points now. The chances of that happening increasing, and that's going to even turn the money printer on even more. Loans are going to be cheaper. People are going to have more discretionary income, and you're going to see everything continue to pump, guys. So keep that in mind. These are big dates to watch. Now, next, let's go over the Fear and Greed Index. So the Fear and Greed Index is at 42 right now. Remember my last stream, it was at 39, and I said now is a good time to start DCAing down because you got to remember, guys, when looking at these sentiment indicators, you want to buy whenever people are scared. Fear or extreme fear. You don't want to buy when it's in greed or extreme greed because at that point, we're nearing that top, right? Everyone's getting euphoric, everyone's getting too confident, and then the market makers have to flush everything down, reset the market, reset the sentiment, and then continue higher. So now the fact that we went into that fear area, we just dipped below there for a few days, and now we're breaking back to the upside. So keep an eye on this. Still good that we're in neutral. Again, technically could go either way now, but being at the lower end of neutral is good for further room to the upside, especially with Bitcoin's inverse head and shoulders pattern and potentially ETF flows returning this week, as well as a few more people buying more. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But speaking of ETF flows, looking at Bitcoin, so we did have negative flows on Thursday and Friday. So that's why I'm waiting to see if institutions do grow confident again and have positive inflows today. I expect they will, especially Ethereum's going to be an interesting one as well because it had negative outflows last week for 5 days in a row. And so it's just a matter of time before those turn into inflows again. The big catalyst for Ethereum's initial inflows that it had the week of August 21st was those DATs, so those digital asset treasuries. They were buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Ethereum, and that's what was pumping the market. Now we saw Ethereum have a huge run. It pulled back. It's been consolidating for a while. It's been underperforming. And now we potentially may see it break out soon. Like I said, 5 days of outflows is a lot of money. And so now sentiment's near all-time low for Ethereum. That's the reason why I made the long. It's been underperforming. I'm waiting for it to show. Tom Lee started buying more. Maybe other institutions may jump on board. The stock market hasn't closed yet. There's still time for other institutions to come and invest. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. Now, Going over some TA. So, like I said, in the last market update, I posted this inverse head and shoulders pattern. I said, guys, it's looking good. We could break out. At the time, Bitcoin was at 111K. Now we're seeing it rise over 112K. This is the big number to watch, guys. And so make sure that you are keeping an eye on this 112K level at the daily close level, which closes in 5.5 hours. If the daily closes above 112K, really what we want to see is even above this level here, 13.4K. I don't know if we'll get that, or and actually no, sorry, 112.5K. If it can close above 112.5K, very bullish. At that point, I'd be looking for 114, then 115.8, which means Ethereum is going to do good as well. But looking at the RSI, it did bounce off a signal line, continuing to the upside on the daily. My only hesitation is the stock RSI. It's getting close to overbought, so just keep that in mind, is we may have a pullback in a few days. Once this does get overbought, just like we saw back here, August 13th, it did have a pullback afterwards. So keep that in mind. We could start to see some action with that, but nonetheless, this inverse head and shoulders pattern is looking good. We'll probably see some resistance at this neckline, because here I can show you guys, if any of you guys are having a hard time seeing it, we had the left shoulder. Whoops, that was a bad drawing here. So we have the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder. Okay, so this is the inverse head and shoulders pattern. If any of you guys watched my chart patterns video, it's in the live tab for gym hunters, and I believe it's the 5th or 6th video from the bottom, but it's called charting patterns, and I talk about the inverse head and shoulder and why it's a very bullish pattern. So at the very least, I'm thinking we could see a potential rise, retest of support, and then continue higher from there. So keep an eye on that. But support for Bitcoin is going to be 112K, followed by 110K. Remember, we do have those liquidity levels between 109 to 110K. So if we do have a further drop, those liquidity levels are what I would be looking at to bid. And then resistance, like I said, near 114K, and then followed by 115.6K. Now for Ethereum, it's in its descending wedge pattern on the daily, and so you have support near that level I was talking about earlier at 4230. So that's why I posted a daily close below 4200 would invalidate our Ethereum long. Right now, it's so close to breaking out, guys. Like this descending wedge pattern, I mean, it's textbook, where you have support, support, support. Well, it was resistance, then support, then support, then support. Now we have resistance up top. This is literally textbook descending wedge. For any of my TA guys out there, confirm with me if this is textbook descending wedge on the daily. The RSI is close to breaking above its signal line. The stock RSI is oversold and breaking to the upside. Like, guys, if I wasn't going to take a long here, I don't know when I would take a long. And so if this trade invalidates, it invalidates. But I'm not going to let this trade pass me up and let it pass you guys up just because the market pumped today and I don't know if Ethereum's going to do good in the future, right? Like, my whole reason I'm a gym hunter is because I take these risks and I look when the risk reward is on our side. And just from everything here, the risk reward is on our side. If you really want it to be on your side, I mean, wait until it comes down to this 4230 level. But at the end of the day, just make sure that you are looking and managing your risk accordingly. That's what I always tell people. I posted a range to enter this trade. I said 4250 to 4330. Right now it's at 4326, just below the top of the entry. So if I were you guys, I would DCA down. I wouldn't invest everything right now in the trade. Maybe do 50% right now, 50% at 4300, and then 50% at 4250. And then, like I said, if it closes the daily at 4200, so this is what I mean by the stop loss, by the way. You're not technically setting a stop loss right now, okay? I'll show you what I mean. So if price, let's say, so you don't have a stop loss right now, price is hovering right, and then if price breaks out, awesome. But if price, for whatever reason, falls below, and say tomorrow it ends up being right here, like a daily closes tonight, and it's right here. Well, if price is below 4200 on the daily, once it closes in 5.5 hours, then you'll close out your trade. You're out of your trade. But if the daily is still, let's say, if it's above, right? If it's say above, if it's right here at 4250 in 5.5 hours, then you stay in the trade. And you stay in that trade for another 24 hours until the next daily close. And if it's below, then you close out your trade. So it's not a fixed stop loss. Now, you guys can definitely set your stop loss below 4200, like say 4190. If you want to set a fixed stop loss, if you're scared that, you know, I don't know, if you won't be up in 5.5 hours to monitor the trade to see if it's below 4200, then fine. But the reason I put a daily close below 4200 as the stop loss is because, one, the lowest wick it went to was 4209. And so if we close the daily, you can see here, the daily candle closed above 4200 both of these times, August 11th and August 22nd. So if we close the daily below this, then it's going a lot lower, just like this candle did. It's going near 4,000, okay? That's why I said a daily close, because then it's going to confirm lower. But since we're so close to breaking above these two levels, I had to take the trade, guys. I had to take the trade. So that's what's going on with Ethereum. Gonna do a few TAs and then I will answer your guys' questions. Now, looking at Solana here. So Solana is at 215.40. And so 215.40, Solana is doing very good. It looks like it wants to close above this 214 level. That would be very bullish. The next target for Solana I'm looking at is $218. That's the next big resistance. That was resistance February 5th and January 7th. After that level, I'd be looking at 240. Let me go ahead and expand the chart a little bit. So I'd be looking at 240, which was resistance on January 31st. And then finally 260, which is resistance in January as well. And then also resistance November of last year. So make sure you guys are watching these levels. Again, Solana's been performing very well. The RSI is crossing above its signal line now. The stock RSI is crossing above its signal line. It's looking very, very good. So Solana, it should be continue to outperform from here. So Solana's looking great. I'd love to see it start breaking out finally, especially as it broke above this weekly trend line and is continuing higher from there. Now, support for Solana would be 209 and then DCAing more near 201. If any of you guys got in near that entry at 201, congrats. That was a great area to long. But right now, I would just be patient. If you're looking to enter long on Solana, at the very least, I'd wait till 209. And like I said, DCAing at 201 if so. Now, also, let's go and look at XRP because I know a lot of people are on XRP. Right now, it's breaking above its 50 EMA on the daily. Next resistance is going to be at 307, followed by 330, whereas the next support is going to be 285 and then 275. But just like Solana, its RSI is breaking above its signal line on the daily, and the stock RSI is breaking to the upside as well. Not quite overbought yet, so still looking good on that front. But XRP is looking fairly good today. And then also, we have USDT dominance. This is looking beautiful, guys. For those who don't know, USDT dominance measures if people are investing into stables, meaning selling their Bitcoin and altcoins for stables, or they're selling their stables and they're buying Bitcoin or altcoins. And so if stable dominance is declining, that means altcoins are pumping. So it's rejecting off of this resistance, which is beautiful. It's breaking below the support. The RSI is close to breaking below support on the signal line. And so, guys, this looks like we still have a ways to go on the USDT dominance, which would mean much, much higher for alts and for Bitcoin over the next few days or even a week. And so keep an eye on that. I believe we're very close to going higher here. But like I said, we could have a little cool off. We could have a little potential bounce in here, more chop over the next few days, and then pump higher. But we'll have to see what happens with that. Also, let's go ahead and look at hype. I know that people were asking me about hype earlier, so we'll go over that as well as SEI or as SAY and a few others. So hype right now, I mean, it's breaking your all-time highs. If you want to play the breakout trade, you could play that, but I would not long until $49. Wait for retracement back. But as you can see, the RSI is looking beautiful with a bounce off of its signal line. And then also you have the stock RSI looking really good as well. Continuing higher here, not overbought yet. So indicators look good, and it looks good from a TA and structural perspective. If you want to DCA at multiple levels, 49 and then around 46.30 for DCAing on hype. And also, let's go ahead and look at SAY. So I know SAY got added actually for ETFs. Let me go ahead and go over that real quick. I know that Solid Intel is usually a good information provider. Sometimes they're a little off, but you can see here that the SEC acknowledged the filing for the Canary Spot Stakes SAY ETF. So that's good as well. It's probably why they wanted, you guys were asking me about charting SAY. But at this point, it's right near resistance at 30.8 cents. Although the RSI is looking good, bouncing off a signal line, the stock RSI is getting close to overbought. Like I said, so maybe a few more days of pumping before retracing. But what I want to see is a daily close above 31 cents. That almost confirmed this breakout, and then we'd look for that 34 to 35 cents afterwards. If you're looking to buy its support, I would look at 27.5 cents. That'd be a good support level. Really a range here between 26 to 27 cents. That'd be a good support level. And then finally down here at 24.5 cents would be the next support afterwards. And then also you can see here, potentially a breakout just from this downtrend that we had, right? So potentially you can see it was rejecting off here and then finally broke out. So that could be a reason, again, for the pump as well. Now, I know there was one more token you guys were asking me about. I'll have to look in a minute and see. But also, let's go over AVAX real quick. So AVAX is very close to breaking out. What I want to see for AVAX, if it can close the daily above this level here, whereas at 2650, if it can close the daily above this 2650 level, it's going to be very bullish, guys. I mean, AVAX looks like it wants to break out. The RSI is crossed above the signal line. The stock RSI isn't overbought yet. Still room to run. So yeah, AVAX looks like it could break out very soon. I wouldn't be longing right here just because it's near the top of its range. But if you can get it near 2280, that'd be a great level. If you want to get it earlier than that, maybe $24 would be a good level as well if it does have a pullback here. And then also upcoming events. Already talked about the CPI, PPI numbers coming out this week. And then also you have the FOMC meeting September 17th. And then also you have the Token 2049 event in September, beginning of October. Let me know if any of you guys are going to that. Would love to meet you as well. But with that, again, if you aren't following me on X at the CryptoData, definitely do so. I much love, guys. I always appreciate all the support. But let's go ahead and answer some questions. And then also like the stream if you guys haven't liked it. We got 69 likes, but 132 viewers. We got to get some of those likes up. Always appreciate it, guys. All right, let's go ahead and see some more people. We left off Bigos. All right, Bromes, ACD, finally the call that I was waiting for. Thanks. You're an absolute legend. Thanks to your teaching and Rev for the best analyst in crypto. I was able to recover from my loss. Bromes, that makes me feel so good. Anytime you guys are making money from my calls, definitely let me know. I love that, guys. And it makes me feel good because, again, all this work isn't for naught. I love to share the knowledge. Love to help you guys make money as well. Again, the support is mutual. You guys support me, I support you. Always love it. Anytime you support my socials, retweets, likes, anything, guys. Always much appreciated. Nikolai, have you seen that Zeus team is making Zeus toys? I actually haven't seen that, Nikolai. That's interesting. Curious to see what they do with that token. I know they've had a lot of partnerships recently, but again, it's a lot of ETH tokens are lagging just because ETH isn't performing as well over the past few weeks. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Brome says, your thoughts on the Pangu to enter Pangu for those who stopped out of Pangu before the pump. Good question, Bromes. So let me go ahead and go over the chart real quick. Spoiler alert, I would not enter now, but I would still look at entering potentially near 3 cents if you can get it. So just like here, this is what ETH is going to do in my opinion. It's going to have a descending wedge pattern that's going to break out, right? Just like we're seeing here. So Pangu, it's probably going to go up to 3.6 cents from here. Now, if you want to buy, 3.28 cents would be a good entry. And then below here, if you can enter near 3 cents, that'd be a good entry as well, near 3 cents. So yeah, that's where I would enter, 3.28 and then 3 cents. Those would be the entry areas for that. All right, let's see what else you guys have. Israel says, any books that you recommend for trading in TA? Yeah, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. So Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, and then Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. 2 great books. Tech says, you guys are angels for the people. Hey, we appreciate you, Tech. We're just doing what we can. And any extra benefit we get by helping you guys is a plus. Bayo Sport says, you think hype correction or just keep going? I guess it could follow market in big week this week with inflation, basically rate cuts themselves. Yeah, the thing is, hype could definitely continue, but I wouldn't buy right now. I'd wait for some type of pullback to $49 at the very least. Havan says, what's your opinion on World? Yeah, World's been going crazy. I mean, top gainer today up 42%. I actually haven't looked at the chart today, funny enough. Let's go ahead and pull it up and see. I know there's some big news coming out for World, and yeah, I mean, just look at this chart, guys. Like, I mean, it's wild, right? If you would have been looking for support, very close to support, where it had that balance, you can see that even right here, right? It came up to support, and that's why it pays to buy at these support levels, guys. Just like that, like clockwork. RSI, crossed over a signal line, absolutely sent. World is definitely way overbought right now, so I would not be buying here. You can see it rejected off resistance near 152. So that's something I would watch out for. Now, if you want to buy, maybe 140 could be a good level if it can hold above 140 on the daily. And then after that, I would look at buying at 120 and then DCAing down to 112. So I need to actually look at why World pumped so much. I know there was some news that they had, so that's something to watch out for. But yeah, World, I mean, beautiful pump right there. Kudos to whoever got into that. Let's see what else we got. All right, Junior says, like the stream, guys. Yes, please like it, guys. Really appreciate it. Stanley says, how do you calculate the top of a meme coin like SPX and Pangu? Honestly, it's just trend line resistance. So if they're in price discovery, just look at, have a trend line, see if you can find that, and just extrapolate from there, or use the Fibonacci retracement tool and look at like the 1618 level and see how high that can go, because people look at that as well. Leviathan says, health is wealth. Yes, it is, guys. Make sure you guys are getting 7 to 8 hours plus of sleep a night, staying away from sugars, candy, all that junk food, sodas. Eat organic food, organic fruits, drink spring water from glass bottles or reverse osmosis water, or at the very least, Brita water pitcher. Just something's better than tap water. And then also stay away from drinking plastic bottles, guys. They have so many microplastics in them. Just, yeah, be careful. That stuff wrecks your body. So, and then work out at least 3 days a week. Even just cardio, walking, something, right? Get your body active. You'll feel so much better. Nikolai says, yo, exchanges are being hacked from China. That's crazy. Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? Like, yeah, be careful, guys. Like I said, for transactions right now, just be careful, because a hack is going on. Read every transaction before you approve it. Copy paste in the chat GPT just to double check as well. Amir says, I'm looking at $400 in 2 years. Call me crazy. Oh, Amir, what was that for hype? I'm assuming that was for hype. That could happen as well. Tech, price disparity of silver, brilliant long-term investment in your opinion. Every electric car also requires 1 ounce of silver. Great point actually on the electric car requirement, Tech. Yes, I am very bullish on silver. Like, silver is a great investment, guys. If you think you missed the gold run, invest in silver. You'll catch up very soon. Arjun says, is this Luke or a bot? I love it, Arjun. No, this is not Luke. My name is John Luke. Different guy, similar voice, similar mannerisms, but different person. So we'll be on a stream together soon. Amir says, Bitcoin under 69K, 2026. Screenshot this, silver 400 to 2027. Interesting, Amir. I could see that. I could see that because May 2026 is going to be the top of Bitcoin. Then we'll have a drop after that. There's going to be a big correction in 2026, guys. Now's the time to make your money. Niraj says, just got back from the office. How's your portfolio doing, brother, after today's bounce? It's doing good, Niraj. Appreciate you asking. I was actually in a Solana long from, I believe, from 201. And so, yeah, I did very good on that. And so that's working out very good. But, yeah, it's if any of you guys were in that as well, let me know. But it's definitely a good spot to long there. Botified. So if ETH closes below your stop loss, we should mark close and re-enter at another support level. Yeah, at that point, I'll look to enter near 4,000. Tech, price disparity between gold and silver. Ah, gotcha. Good point. Arjun, let's see, John Luke, do you want to hold ETH or trade ETH? At this point, trading ETH, because I still think we're going to have a drop in September. Diego says, oops, I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Thanks for your help. You're the man. Hey, appreciate you, Diego. You're the man. James, can you talk about the rumors about Tether selling Bitcoin? There's a video that is now private, but I have it all in a Google Doc. The CEO came out saying they were just moving assets into XXI. So, yeah, I've seen that as well. Tether said, yeah, they dismissed it. I didn't do too much research into it, but they said they hold both gold and Bitcoin. So hopefully that's true, but we'll see. James says, XXI always buys in whole and the numbers don't add up. Yeah, it's very interesting. If they are selling Bitcoin for gold, it could be red flag as far as a Bitcoin dump in the near future, but I'd have to do more research on it. Abel says, what do you think about Crow? Crow isn't bad. Crypto.com. I mean, they have a lot of investments and partnerships, and they were rising quite a lot a couple weeks back. So may not be a bad investment for diversification purposes. Diego, have you changed your prediction regarding September bearish bullish, especially in the last 3 weeks of the month? You know, not too much. I know I said September is historically bearish, which I still believe. I think the FOMC meeting is going to be a sell the news event, and then we're probably going to dump until mid to end October, and then start the Q4 bull run after that. Samir, if DXY goes down, gold obviously goes up still, right? Yeah, correct. Absolutely. But the interesting thing is gold and the stock market rising at the same time. Usually you don't have that because gold is seen as a defensive stock. But, I mean, I guess with the market the way it is, still uncertainty, treasury yields at 5%, people don't trust central banks, then everything is kind of going hand in hand together. SWAR, also ETH and weekly chart looks to make a pullback. So is your long call still valid? Yeah, so the stock RSI was overbought. Now it's starting to get under overbought territory, but the RSI still looks good, SWAR. It looks like it's curving to the upside. So that's the only reason why I'm in this long. This isn't a long-term long. This is like maybe a week holding at most. SWAR says, told you guys to buy Aether. Look at today's pump. I feel it'll lead DPIN soon. Yes, SWAR, thanks for reminding me about that too. I saw Aether say that DPIN season is starting, which there's a couple other DPIN coins as well that have been doing really well. Actually, let me look at my deck screener real quick and I'll tell you guys exactly which one I'm talking about. It is called World Mobile Token. It's up 6% today. It's been doing very well, 177 market cap. As far as says CD, I think the market's gearing up for a pullback this week to tag the liquidity and then send after the FOMC. That's very possible, S4, 100%. Nikolai, if BTC closes above 112.5K and you open a long with that at the next resistance level, where would you put the stop loss? Because if the stop loss is below 110K, the risk reward gets messed up. Yeah. So at that point, you look at a daily close below 112K. That would be your conservative stop loss. Mirza, when trading low-cap meme coins that move fairly quickly, do you still use both stock RSI and RSI? I do, yeah. Just because, I mean, I'm trying to have the best risk reward I can. But at the end of the day, if you just want to use RSI, you can do that as well, since a lot of people look at that for meme coins. Nikolai says, textbook descending wedge looking juicy. It does, Nikolai. If this thing breaks out, so many algos are going to go off. DJ and Kurt, crypto wallet hacks going around. Stay safe from DEX trading. Yes, guys, please stay safe. Bessum, what do you think about DOT long if you expect ETH to go up? DOT has shown some real strength lately. You know, let me look at DOT real quick because I've never been bullish on DOT. Like anytime it pumps, usually it's because they're putting money in or paying people off or what have you for marketing. So, I mean, maybe, I could see a symmetrical triangle here. Like, you could look at there, look at, let's do this orange, and then here, right? So, I mean, actually, you could probably extend this out a little bit. Yeah. So you have a little pennant here, right? So yeah, DOT's getting close to breaking out. I mean, heck, even right here. I mean, look at this, guys. Like, DOT is coming to a head right now. So if any of you guys are thinking about longing DOT, if it can break, let's say if it closes above 420 on the daily, I'd look for a potential long breakout there. If it closes below 370 on the daily, I look for a short. So yeah, DOT's very interesting. Very interesting for a breakout soon. Let's see what other questions we got here. Darren says, Data, how do you find an edge in choppy markets like this one? You know, Darren, it's not easy, but you just got to be patient at the end of the day. And I still focus on higher time frames like the daily or weekly, and just be patient for those to get into oversold territory, or for the indicators to start looking good, like what we've seen on Ethereum with the RSI almost crossing above its signal line. The stock RSI is being oversold finally while it's in a descending wedge pattern, right? Like, you got to have more confluent signals in a choppy market. Otherwise, like you said, you're just going to get chopped up. And so I'm just patient. That's why I haven't made a leverage call in, what, about a week or more. And so that's the biggest thing, is I'm not going to force the market, but at the same time, I'm not going to, you know, stay idle and do nothing if opportunities present themselves. And so at that point in a choppy market, you have to narrow down your take profit zones. Like, you can't say, okay, I'm long ETH at 43.30 and my next take profit's going to be 4,600. Like, you got to still keep it somewhat tight so you can still reach those TP levels, especially because, you know, when the market's not trending, you know, it's like you said, it's very choppy. So yeah, just look for more confluence at the end of the day. Stefan says, what's the next for hype long? Still full open? So yeah, so Luke is still in one, but for myself, if you haven't entered a hype long yet, I would look at a 3x leverage, or not 3x leverage, but a potential long at $49 and $46.50 if you're looking for a pullback. Brome says, I'm in MYX from yesterday at 174, guys. Thanks to CD Ref. Hey, appreciate you guys. Always much appreciated. Botified, do I need to worry about getting hacked if I'm just trading on BloFin? Also heard some people trading where LibertyFi got hacked. Should I worry? I wouldn't worry about Botified now. BloFin's very good. This is just if you're using hardware wallets or transacting on hot wallets. That's where you need to make sure you read all your transactions before you sign them. Copy paste the transactions in ChatGPT for the, you know, before signing them, to make sure that it's safe and it's not being sent to another address, because that's where these hacks are happening. They intercept when you're sending it, and when you sign it, it actually changes the address to a different one, and it's their own address that they're sending. So got to keep careful with that. Hootie was curious how the blood moon last night affected the market. So the blood moon looks like, quote unquote, or knock on wood, that it's breaking to the upside for this market. So I mean, so far it's looking good. It looks like it may be more to the upside versus downside for the blood moon, but we still have yet to see, because usually the effects happen a few days after. Samantha says, please tell me what you think of Epic and INSP. How high do you think it can get this alt season? Samantha, Epic, I haven't done too much research on that. INSP, same. I mean, I can look at the Epic chart real quick for you and see what it looks like. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So for Epic, I believe this is Prime, correct? Echelon Prime, or no, this is a different one. But yeah, for this chart, I would say look to buy near 175. And then even right now is not horrible support near 195. And then as far as the resistance levels, 260 and 304. But if you're looking for near-term resistance, then I would look at 235. So these would be the levels I look for. Buy support near 195, 175, and then resistance near 236, 260, and 304. So for this cycle, maybe a high of $3 to $4 potentially. But yeah, just be careful with that. Let's see. And then INSP, I'll go ahead and look at that for you real quick. Let's see. Ah, the charts look fairly similar. That's funny. Okay, so resistance for ISP near 2.3 cents. Support is going to be 1.7 cents if you can get it. Then higher for resistance is going to be 3 cents, and then 4.4 cents. So maybe it can go up to 4.4, reaches all-time highs again. All right, Nikolai, by the way, thanks for recommending me to read Trading in the Zone. Absolute game changer. Hey, no problem, Nikolai. Trading in the Zone is good for emotional stability and learning how traders think, successful traders think, and just how you can master your emotions at the end of the day and just focus on the data. So it's very good with desensitizing you from the concept of money and not getting flustered when you're in a trade and you're making thousands of dollars and, you know, questioning yourself. It really hones you in to what your psychology should be as well as how you should form your own trading plan. Golden Boy says TA for Sui and Fartcoin. Those were the other ones I was going to look at. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that real quick. Oops. There it goes. Okay. All right, so Sui right now, it is support near 315 and then 330 and then even 340. It looks like it's breaking above. Now, the only thing is the stock RSI is getting close to overbought, so keep that in mind, but the RSI still has plenty of room to go. So I would expect Sui to at least reach 360. You know, so I'd probably have your take profit around 358. And the next resistance is going to be 380, followed by 410. Now, if you're looking to buy support, I actually got to put these EMAs back on. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So this is where you have, I mean, look at all this resistance, right? The 50 EMA has been a big resistance point for Sui. So if it can break above 350 on the daily, it's going to be very, very bullish. And then support, you can see between around 330. It's very strong support for Sui. So look to long near there if it gets there. Then also Fartcoin, we can look at that one. Whoops, not that chart. Let's see. All right, let's go on the Bybit one. Yeah, so Fartcoin, I mean, look at this, guys. Picture perfect support here near 72 cents. A nice bounce from there. Now it's looking to lead up to 87 cents would be the next big resistance level, especially if it can close above 80. And then after that, you can see there's a lot of resistance near $1. That psychological level is going to be a lot to break through here. So just keep that in mind. But tentatively, it does look good with the RSI breaking above the signal line and the stock RSI crossing to the upside. So good to see on that front for Fartcoin. Pratik, what indicators do you use? I use the RSI, stock RSI, 50 and 200 EMAs, and then just support and resistance lines. Tip Topper, great stream. How do you think about the FOMC meeting is going to affect the market? Is it going to be a sell the news and we pump in October, or do you think we're going to pump right away? I think it's going to be sell the news, and then we'll dump until mid to end October, and then we'll pump towards the end of October. NJR, ACD, love what you're doing for the community all the way from South Africa. Hey, appreciate that, NJR. I still need to visit South Africa. Great place. Lahil, my so long entry was at 201. Took some profit. Thank you, G. Is up 70%. Awesome, Lahil. So glad you guys are making money. El Hussein, ACD, any short ideas? A short idea would be probably heck, if Bitcoin can't close above 112K, it could be a good short idea. Or more so Solana near 220. Maybe a good short temporarily. Or 218. Asar, hey, thanks for everything. It's a great community we're having and building. By the way, what do you think about MYX? Appreciate that, Asar. MYX, I mean, it's gone up so much today. I would just be careful, but I still need to research why it's up so much. So I don't have enough research to give a correct opinion. The only opinion I would give is if you're up a lot on that, I would take some profits. Abhishek says, hey, John, is it okay to hold ETH till 4,700? Yeah, it's okay to hold it, but I would just look for resistance near 44 to 4,500. Michez says, what about Link? Link is a good token. Let me go ahead and look at the chart real quick. So Link looks good. A nice little bounce there. Next resistance for Link would be around $24 and then 25 and then 26.80. And so you can see just kind of stair stepping up here. But just like with Ethereum, the RSI is very close to breaking above a signal line, and the stock RSI is looking beautiful as well. So yeah, Link doesn't look too bad, honestly. If you're in a long right now, I mean, I'd try to wait until between $21.60 to $22. If you can get a long near here, that'd be perfect. And then take profits at 24, 25.10, and 26.80 for Link. But it does look good. Tip Topper says BTC and ETH all-time high price prediction this cycle. Bitcoin 250K by May 2026, and Ethereum 10 to 15K. Gen Z, I mean, is ETH call still active? What are the chances of a pullback? Oh, I didn't even look at what is it at now? Is it is ETH pumping right now? Let's go ahead and look. Come on, baby. Oh, let me go ahead and go to Coinbase. Okay, 43.29. Oh yeah, it's still in play. Our entry's up until 43.30. So yeah, the ETH long is gonna be in play until we get stopped out on a daily close below 4,200, or we hit our first take profit one. That's the only invalidation levels. But yeah, it's very close to breaking out right now. So hopefully we see a little pop to the upside soon. Nikolai, okay, thanks, man. Maximilian, hey, man, what do you think about Pet Bitcoin? Do you think it's new all-time highest potential? My fave, thank you. Pet Bitcoin is interesting. I haven't looked at that too much, honestly, but if price action is looking good and there's a lot of catalysts in the future, then definitely it could have a nice little performance. Call Me says, BTC thoughts, waiting for a daily close above 112K, and then I'll be bullish. Nikolai, but then how much should I risk in that BTC trade? Because there can be a big drop intraday like it happened with the Jim Hunter's Doge trade a few times. So just wait for support, right? Don't enter now. Just wait for support to long near 110 to 111K. Then at that point, you're getting a much better entry and you're risking less money. Nikolai, but thanks a lot. You have been teaching a lot of stuff. Hey, no problem, Nikolai. Ghost Rider, hello, CD. Long time no see, eh? Hope you've been good. Where are we at with the group? Soon, Ghost Rider. Soon. I still got to set up my office as well. Trying to set that up before the group, but I think the group should be the priority for now, and then we'll set everything else up after. But yes, this week for sure. Hooray. Yo, John Luke, what do you think about the ton meme? So ton memes, I'm not really bullish on just because they don't have a lot of liquidity. And for a meme to do good, you got to have a lot of attention on it and hype, because as Luke always says, where attention goes, money flows. So Arjun, yes, my name is John Luke, not Luke. So I am not Luke Belmar. I am not an AI voice of Luke Belmar. I am my own person. He says, if I want to buy crypto, which one would you want me to buy? Probably just buy either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Solana. Joshua, can you do, or even hype? Yep, just TA link. Iker says, what about Zeus? No thoughts on Zeus currently. I'm currently out of it. Ari says, what's your view on trading the Monday range? Once the range forms, wait for a Monday low to be taken out to enter the trade and trade up to a Monday high. Yeah, that would be a good strategy, Ari. Mika, what do you think about Ondo? Bullish? Let me check Ondo real quick. Ooh, 93 cents. Ondo's near its major resistance now on the daily. It's near its 200 EMA, 50 EMA, and 100 EMA on the daily. So a lot of resistance, but tentatively it does look good for the RSI, and it does look good for the stock RSI. It looks like we're starting to break out of a lot of indicators on the daily. So the next resistance I would look for Ondo would be near $1, right? $1 is that psychological level. After that, I would look at $1.10 and then probably $1.20 afterwards. So if you're looking to buy its support, around 90 cents. I mean, 90 cents is kind of iffy, to be honest. I would much rather buy at 87 cents. That'd be a much better level. And then DCAing down to 85. So 85 to 87 cents would be a great level to DCA for Ondo versus 91. Alexander, do you have some advice on how you can have more self-esteem? Because I have a question example to ask you, but I don't know how to ask it. Oh, just ask it, Alexander. No problem. For self-esteem, just repetition, honestly. So if you're unconfident in yourself and maybe talking with people or sharing ideas, just become smarter in whatever field you're talking about. So for example, if you're insecure when talking about crypto, just study crypto more and learn more about it, because knowledge breeds confidence. That goes the same with public speaking. If you're nervous about public speaking, just talk in front of a camera, record videos on YouTube, get used to speaking, talk to more people, socialize. At the end of the day, guys, no one cares about you. And I mean that in the best possible way, meaning everyone's got so much stuff to worry about their life. They're not paying attention to your weird mannerisms or the way you talk. They got so much stuff to worry about themselves. So don't worry about how you talk or what you look like. Just talk with people. Just be confident, right? Also, I recommend working out. If you don't work out, everyone should work out, because it increases your self-esteem like no other. I promise you. Even if it's just a couple days a week, start working out, start getting in shape, start eating healthy. You're going to feel so much better about yourself. At that point, your confidence is going to rise automatically. So that's probably the first hack, is working out. Start that. And if you already work out, then just start socializing more and just start talking with more people online. Start becoming more knowledgeable about topics. And at that point, your self-esteem is going to increase naturally. Through that repetition, you're just going to become more confident. Then at that point, it's going to become second nature. No problem, Maximilian. Samantha says, do you only leverage trade or do you do spot? Thanks for your analysis. Hey, no problem, Samantha. So for myself, I leverage trade. I do both. Right? So because, for example, for the World Liberty Fi token, I was just trading that on spot because it was very risky and very volatile. But I like to hedge for both. So I like to use leverage trades as well as spot, so I can get the best of both worlds. Because leverage, you can make a lot more money as long as you have a trading plan and you're careful. Bayo Sports, coins are breaking out of patterns, but they have bearish gaps just above where they're currently at. Example, fart. Yeah, so that could be interesting as well, right? And so, yeah, keep an eye on that. We could have bearish gaps. Curious if we have any CME gaps as well. Let me actually check that real quick since you reminded me about gaps. So, let's see. Let's check the hourly chart here. Okay, so there is a CME gap on Bitcoin that has yet to get filled. Actually, well, it got filled up here per se. Let me actually, oh yeah. So right here, here's the gap. Okay, so we have a gap between 114K to 116.8K. So this area still has to get filled. And then below that, let's see, do we have another gap? Let me see. No, I believe we filled this gap. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so really the biggest gap is going to be up above us. So I would look for that to get filled near 116.8K before retracing to the downside again. So that would be a lot of positive price action if that happens. Let me bring this over so you guys can see. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Dreamer says, thanks for your time, CD. Hey, no problem, guys. I'm glad I'm able to help you guys out. We got 97 viewers in here, 85 likes. Let's see if we can get those likes near 100. That would be awesome. Maximilian, you think Injective can go to 70? I feel Injective is one of the strongest plays. Can you check the chart? Yeah, I'll check the chart real quick. And we're already over time for the stream, but I'll stay for a couple minutes more because you guys have some questions, so I want to help out as much as possible. Now for Injective, oh man, this chart's so choppy. So choppy. Okay. Injective, yeah. All right, so these are levels for Injective. Can it get to 70? Highly unlikely. Because there's so much dilution of capital among various meme coins. I mean, there's thousands of meme coins being created every day. There's thousands of, millions of dollars being diluted across various altcoins. And so the silver lining with Injective is maybe, you could say technically it broke this trend line resistance. And so, yes, we could have some positive price action with the RSI and stock RSI looking good as well. But it's just, I don't know. It's just been an underperformer for a long time, so I'm not as confident in Injective, to be honest. But if you want to buy it, I'd look at $12.25 if you can get an entry there with resistance at $14, $15.50, and then $16.30. Tip Topper, if you had to pass the 3 most important trading advices, what would they be? That would be patient because there's opportunities every day, never FOMO, and have a trading plan. Because if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail. Arjun, how can I learn crypto really well, like to get to understand the game really well? I would follow reputable people on X. I would learn from them, such as myself. Here, I'll link people who you should follow if you want to learn about crypto. So myself, if you haven't followed me, definitely do so. Also, Benjamin Cohen into Cryptoverse. If you haven't followed him, you need to. He's an extremely smart guy macro-wise. Then also Virtual Bacon is extremely smart. He does a lot of live streams. Very good guy and very smart macro-wise as well. And also, if you guys aren't following the Jim Hunters X account, definitely follow them. They post a lot of good content as well as always. So yeah, guys, follow some smart people on X. That's going to learn a lot. You don't want to follow the scammers. A lot of influencers just try to take your money. I provide educational content. Check out my pinned message as well. And I post a lot of updates about the macro analysis, different things such as blood moons, astrology as well. I try to give a different outlook on the market. I post motivational quotes as well. Again, a little bit of everything, guys, because I don't believe crypto is just one facet. I believe there's various facets with crypto, not only with your health, but also macro analysis. And that's how I'm able to be so accurate with a lot of my calls, because I'm able to look at everything in a total view versus just being tunneled into one certain aspect. So that's why I like to give my analysis, and I like to go as deep as I can with various metrics so you guys can stay one step ahead of everyone else. Samantha says, how high do you think Sol can get this alt season? Ooh, I would say $350 to $500. I'd be comfortable saying that. I know some people think $1,000, but that's a little bit stretching it. Jay says, not sure if you covered this, but do you copy trade? Like, as in we can copy trade you, especially for beginners, to see some profits and actually doing things right? I don't offer copy trading yet, but potentially in the future, yes, I could offer it. So make sure you're following me in my Telegram group. Make sure you're following me on X and my other socials because I may offer it there as well. B says, can you recommend resources for me to really learn trading crypto? Yeah, so following those people below that I just linked, as well as following the Jim Hunters YouTube account and my YouTube account. If you go to the live tab of the Jim Hunters YouTube account, then you'll be able to look at some videos that I made. Even the third link at the bottom, followed by, yeah, if you go to the third video from the bottom called Technical Analysis Basics, you'll see how to learn how to draw support and resistance levels, and that's going to help you a lot entering at levels that'll be positive for you. Manifest says, I'm working out right now. Awesome, Manifest. Get that pumping. Imbarantis, hi CD. You expect ETH to reach 42.50 in the next hours to wait for the long? It probably will. It probably have a pullback, yeah. If not, you can just DCA along the way. Bayo, World Liberty Fi thoughts. 15-minute candles are moving entire percentages. World Liberty Fi yeah, it's very volatile. 20 cents is a great support if you can get it near there. 15 cents, go 20 cents, 15 cents, 10 cents, and 5 cents if you're going to DCA. El Hussein said, doing God's work, brother, giving so much genuine advice and answering all the questions for us. That's truly inspiring. May God bless you. I appreciate that, El Hussein. May God bless you as well. Always much love, guys. Junior says, Alpha Stream, appreciate you. Bromes, what are your thoughts on Dolo and how, let's see, and how no and see CM gap? Is it in the lessons in Gem Hunters? So the CME gap is just going to be ticker symbol BTC1 exclamation mark. And you'll see the CME gap. All it is just looking at the hourly chart and seeing if there's gaps in BTC's price. It's basically usually happens on the weekend whenever the Bitcoin price closes on Friday and then opens on Monday. That gap in between usually gets filled. And then Dolo, no thoughts on Dolo, but I do know some people that are bullish on it. Brendan says Binance and Wintermute transaction looks interesting. Ooh, curious on what you mean by that, Brendan. Maximilian, old all-time high is just at $50 though. Thanks, man. Greatly appreciate it. Ain't no problem, Maximilian. Steven says, what's happening on MYX? That's a good question. I need to actually check the news on that. Brendan said transactions. Ah, very curious. Netap says, what do you think about premium gem hunters for beginners in crypto? So premium gem hunters is very beginner friendly. And I say that because obviously I'm in it, but they provide a lot of meme coin alpha. So you have a lot of meme coin callers in there that they're very accurate. Also, you have myself and the other gem hunters who make leverage calls, more leverage calls in there. Then you have more live streams from various gem hunters, 24/7 concierge service if you have any questions. You also have trading courses as well. So it's a plethora of things that you have. So if you want to join it, 1 Ethereum for a yearly subscription. The link is I believe the second link in the description if you want to sign up. So definitely do that if you have the money. But again, only invest what you can afford to lose. Amberantis says there's a lot of liquidity near 4,200 on ETH. Yes, there is. So we could tag that and then continue higher. Remember, daily close below 4,200 is our stop. So you're not having a fixed stop loss. It's fluid, meaning ETH can go to 4,170, but then close the daily at 4,230, and we're still in the trade. Again, with that, there's more risk, right? Because if ETH drops below 4,200, it could go to 4,000, and then you're SOL if you're a 10x leverage. And so just keep that in mind, guys. Like, daily closes are very risky, I will say that, but they're more accurate if you can stick by them. Ari says, what's your view on Zcash? It just broke out of a high time frame trend line. If you look at daily time frame, Zcash, don't really have an opinion on that, to be honest. If it's starting to outperform and indicators are looking good, then yeah, it could be a good play, 100%. Brian says, replay squad. What's going on, Brian? NJR, ACD, if you're able to trade another asset besides crypto, what would it be? It would be options. So I used to trade options back in the day. My degree is in finance, and you can make a lot of money on those, but you need to be disciplined, even more so than crypto, because you have various metrics and various Greeks, such as time decay, theta, delta, and all kinds of different ones to consider whenever you are trading. Brome says, Dolo TA if possible. And then Shazon says, shall we long now? Potentially on Ethereum, you can long. Bitcoin, it's right at its resistance of 112K. So I would just be cautious of that, but potentially you could. Yeah, I'll do a Dolo long real quick for you guys. And then we'll probably end it soon. But yeah, Dolo, you could long it near 17 cents with resistance at 20 cents. And then the next major resistance at 24 cents, followed by 28 cents and 32. So if you want multiple support levels to long at, then 17, 14, and 12.7. So Dolo doesn't look that good, to be honest. It doesn't look that good. It's still curving over. The RSI is curving down. The stock RSI looks like it's starting to curve down. So yeah, Dolo doesn't look as good. Also reiterating, if you guys haven't followed me on X at the CryptoData, definitely do so. Like I said, I post a lot of good content for you guys. Check the pin message. I make sure you guys are well informed with everything. I even leave voice messages as well. Let's see. Brandon says, very good stream. Thanks, G. Going to send you some screens regarding these transactions. Awesome, Brandon. Sounds great and appreciate it. With that, guys, that is going to end the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys could like the stream, if you haven't, really appreciate it. Much love to you guys. I hope you guys are having a great week. Again, always manage your risk accordingly. Wait for the price to come to you. Wait till long at major support levels where indicators are in confluence. Wait for those patterns to play out or those patterns to get set. And then also, just like I said, be patient, stay safe, only invest what you can afford to lose, and you will play the long game in crypto and you will last versus 95% of traders who lose money. So like I said, guys, thanks so much for watching. Love you guys. Have a great rest of the week. Talk soon.